Hey y'all, welcome back to Seven Heaven. You already know we're the most blessed and highly favored channel on YouTube. You know I love y'all so much. And today I just have to start with a disclaimer for y'all because I'm just gonna put aside some cards as I feel called while I'm talking. But I know this is a really fresh incident where real people's lives were taken, were put in danger, real people were injured. So I just want to say my heart goes out to any of y'all who might have lost somebody or anybody who was affected by this. I'm not doing this to be insensitive because I know it's fresh. I was just called to do this reading because some of the things, I guess, in the paper, there were some incongruencies and there were some things that seemed a little bit too congruent, y'all. And so I just wanted to do this reading on the connection between the New Orleans attack on New Year's, where several people were run over with a car, and the Trump Tower attack with the Cybertruck. Yeah, both situations have kind of spoken to me, so I just wanted to do a part one. I might throw up an astrology video too, y'all, just to get the sidereal out there. By the way, I always get people who tell me, oh, you're wrong, such and such is this sign, but y'all, my answer is always gonna be, I do sidereal. So if you say such and such is a Pisces, I'm gonna say, in sidereal, they're an Aquarius, if they're an Aquarius, because that's just how I do. But anyway, y'all, I was called to do this, so I'm just gonna do the do. And yeah, just so y'all know some background as well. So when it comes to Shamsuddin Bahar Jabbar, he's the Muslim fellow who ran over all those poor people in NOLA. And there was actually numerous videos of his that were taken down from the video right before the incident, or taken down from the internet right before the incident and right after. There was a video of him up introducing himself as property manager of the Blue Meadow Properties and team lead of the Midas Group in Texas. So he was working in real estate. He used to be military human relations. He did work in Afghanistan, and he was stationed in Fort Bragg. Now, numerous people in Houston from the Muslim community say they've never heard of him, never met him. Obviously, they're not all gonna know each other, y'all. Okay, don't be racist, but I think it's interesting that these very prominent people of the Islamic faith in that part of town said they don't have any memory or any connections to him. And this happened at 3:16 a.m. on New Year's Day in New Orleans, Louisiana. Then we have Matthew Livelsberg, or I think Matt Berg is how he was listed on LinkedIn. I've seen both. But he was a former active combat military vet in Afghanistan, and he attacked Trump Tower at 8:39 a.m. in Paradise, Nevada. Now, just a fun fact, y'all, about Vegas. Paradise is where the Strip technically is. It's its own separate tax city, basically. It's for tax reasons, it's labeled differently, but you have Las Vegas, the city, then you have the separate city of Paradise, Nevada, where the Strip lies. Just a fun fact. But right whenever Matt Livelsberg had rented this truck, he sent messages to an ex about how excited he was to be renting a Cybertruck. There's been leaked emails that he said he had some information about the Department of Defense, and yeah, and he also was stationed at Fort Bragg. And both of these men were former Afghanistan active, well, not active duty, I don't think, for Jabbar, but they both served in Afghanistan, and they both served in Fort Bragg, which I find very interesting. And also the Trump guy, Matthew Livelsberg, or no, not the Trump guy, the Trump shooter. I'm pretty sure he was also a Fort Bragg guy, the first Trump shooter, or something to that effect. But there's been a lot going on at Fort Bragg, so we're gonna get to these cards now, y'all. I'll put a timestamp. But very, very, very interesting. We have the Justice card here, y'all. It reflects the astrology too, because it's like balancing those scales of justice slash it smells of the higher ups. And it's funny because this is like the brain and the heart being weighed by these bones. So it speaks to some kind of inside activity with these. It speaks to the same person who smacks the gavel being behind this to some extent. And of course we have the world on fire. Interesting. And what happens whenever stuff like this happens? Of course, war. So it's that idea, it's funny, right at the new year and right before President-elect Donald Trump takes office, we have these things happening. Wow, and this is even these two, the couple is even huddled together in like a bomb shelter while the world is on fire. And there's been many people pointing to the fact that this is inciting a war. I mean, ISIS hasn't been around and all of a sudden they're creeping back up before Donald Trump takes office. And y'all know war is like a money-making machine. So I think it's worth thinking about. And I'm telling y'all, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just connect the dots and I look for the psychic truth in these things because it didn't resonate. But it's funny how the world is on fire and these people are huddled in a bomb shelter, y'all. And those are the first two cards that come out. The legal side of this, and who's you know, and it's funny that the justice card has that wig on, like the powdered wig, like the forefathers. So it's that idea of like literally the government who smacks the gavel and the bomb shelter of these two folks being in that world. And the world's on fire. So it's inciting some kind of war. These are put together to incite a war, y'all. Make sure y'all can see those. But yeah, they're put together to incite a war of some kind. And then we have the Emperor too. All these zombies trying to get in while this man has a gun. And in the reverse, which is, I think it came out in the reverse. So we have like leadership turned over into corruption. And they were both caught with guns too. So it's interesting that a gun card came out. Let's see what came out of our true crime oracle here. Wow, okay. Lies here. And it's travel too. Travel and lies. Because we had both of these men traveling from where they're not local, so it's interesting that they chose these places to go. And I think they were tracking from like Colorado Springs, where Matt Livelsberg lived, and I think he was still local to Houston or somewhere else in the South where Shamsuddin lived. But they both traveled from far away, stayed in the Airbnbs and rented the cars. Now the Turo app was another big part of this. The Turo app was a huge part of it because they traveled from somewhere else. So it's very interesting that that app too, like who are they renting these cars from? Very interesting. But just straight up lies came out. Interesting. Also, grandparent came out, which is like, okay, big brother is big brother. Like, this isn't some, like, if I see the parent card, I think it's something that's directly related. But you have to remember, everybody who's in charge in some sort of government way has somebody in charge of them. Okay, so like, this is who's in charge of who's in charge that orchestrated this. Outer space. Interesting. Cybertruck, Elon Musk. I've never gotten the outer space card before, but whosoever is it but the king of outer space, Elon Musk. So, and I mean, it's also interesting because it's a weird level of advertising for both Trump Tower, which I've stayed at Trump Tower. It's actually very nice. Incidentally, just because it was available and affordable for the time I needed to go, but it's very nice. And I don't know, there's no casino there, but it's very interesting place. And I think that whenever these things show up in our headlines, it incidentally serves as an advertisement for them. Very, very interesting. And then we have beach, which, like, I don't know, travel and beach are interesting because this man was coming from Colorado Springs to Paradise. But can we have a clarification on beach? Because I find it interesting that I mentioned Paradise before this too. And it's like, okay, you're trying to get to the shore somewhere. Can we have a clarifier for beach, please, Spirit? Can you clarify beach for us? I'm gonna take these two. Yeah, interesting about Fort Bragg. I wonder if Fort Bragg faces water at all or is a coastal town at all. But we have accident and perversion. So there's something crazy about this. Like, yeah, something on the waterfront happened here, and there's some kind of perversion about these that make them no accident. Because why did these two cards come out together too? Accident, perversion, literally. And why is this a card that shows like a car that's been like blown up or hit too? And they both had to do with cars. Very interesting. See, y'all, it just stinks. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to serve as advertisements. I don't know if it's just supposed to incite the war for everybody and get people on board because, you know, but it's quite interesting that why are they getting inside people to do this? These are ex-military vets. These are supposed to be people that we have the utmost respect for, y'all. So why are they getting military vets to do that? Or rather, how are they getting military vets to do that? And tracking. I don't doubt that there's a tracking aspect because they were both done via electric vehicles, which have self-driving components too. It's important to remember. Let's get something from Pulp Tarot, y'all. And y'all let me know if you want to do a part 2 to this, because one land on foot, one land on water. Part man, part woman, all angel. This has been a Frankenstein card for me that just like, it speaks of experiments and experimentation done on people. There were some Sag placements too in the charts for these, and Temperance is a Sagittarius card, but let's just see. It's interesting too because we have the mountains in the background of this card, and then we have the water, which just immediately makes me think of Lake Mead, which is so close to paradise as well. And then he lived in Colorado. 10 of Wands. Something about the burden. They carried the burden of something, some kind of responsibility for this. And it's funny too, because this also, it's like that desert sun in a way. Definitely points to some activity of the desert sun. What else do we have for this beautiful 5 of Pentacles? Huh. We have the church in the back. We have the woman carrying that baby. So a lot of this just stinks of like religious separatism. And then you have the man, of course, following this woman and her baby through the city. So it's like it's something that's religiously motivated. Can we have one more of these, please? Yeah, the Queen. And then the Pentacle always have, well, that's not the Star of David, but it's very Las Vegas looking, but it's something to do with money. Y'all know during times of war, they print money, you know, like they can, it's such a money generating thing. And I think that there's just so much of this, like there's so much that just kind of points to it being an advertisement because it generates some kind of money. You know, like, look at these together. The world is on fire for that almighty dollar. And it's just like, it's the creation of an enemy, y'all. It's the creation of an enemy. I really think there's something up with this. There's something very strongly up, y'all. Let me know if y'all want me to do a part 2. I'm going to disconnect from the energy now, but I'm so grateful for each and every one of y'all. Please book a personal reading if you'd like. I'm always so grateful and so happy to have you. I'll put the link below. Check out some of the other videos on some different headlines. And again, rest in peace to everyone affected by this. I'm so grateful for y'all. Stay blessed, stay safe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye.